You know, the funny thing about small talk is that most people look at it like the opening band at a concert. Something you suffer through to get to the main event. Deep conversations, the real connections. That's what we all want, right? But if you leave your phone for 2 minutes and actually looked around, you'd realize every interaction, every relationship starts with small talk. Even your best friend started with, "So, what classes are you taking?" Or some equally awkward nonsense. Now, here's an unpopular take. Small talk is not about what you say. Well, for the most part. It's actually more about making the other person feel like a human instead of a Sims character waiting for input. That's it. You don't need a cheat code, a script, or even charisma. You need to learn one thing. Active observation. Okay, I know it sounds like something a nerd would say, but just hear me out. Active observation is about paying attention to the person in front of you like they're the only thing that exists in that moment. Not their vibe, not their aura, just the actual tangible details. Their shirt, their drink, the way they keep glancing at the clock like they'd rather be anywhere else. You notice these things, and then you comment on them in a way that invites, not demands, a response. That's it. Matter of fact, I can just end this video right here. But stay with me now. Trust me, it'll be worth your while. Anyways, let me explain why this works. First, people love to feel seen. Not in the cringe, "you're so deep and mysterious" way, but in the simple, "Hey, I noticed you exist" way. It's basic psychology. Humans are hardwired to crave acknowledgement. Second, it's disarming. When you make an observation, you're not putting pressure on them to perform. You're not hitting them with, "So what do you do?" Or, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" You're just tossing a ball in their direction and seeing if they want to throw it back. Here's an example. You're at a coffee shop, and the person next to you is holding a book. Most people would say, "What are you reading?" Because they think that's the polite thing to do. Wrong. That's pressure. You're asking them to explain, justify, or summarize, and no one wants to do that. Instead, you say, "That book looks like it's been through some things." Boom. You've just made an observation, and you've done it in a way that's neutral but interesting. Maybe they'll laugh and say, "Yeah, it's my third reread," or maybe they'll say, "Oh, it's terrible. I just want to finish it out of spite." Either way, you've started a conversation without making them feel like they're being interviewed. Or let's say you're at a party, which, if you're an introvert, is probably your worst nightmare. Someone walks by holding a plate of food that looks questionable. Instead of ignoring them or hiding in the corner, you say, "Is that the chicken? It looks like it fought back." Again, you're not asking a question, you're making an observation, and you're doing it in a way that invites humor. Maybe they'll laugh and agree. Maybe they'll even defend the chicken. Either way, you've opened the door. The beauty of active observation is that it works everywhere. Work meetings, first dates, family gatherings, you name it. It's flexible, it's simple, and best of all, it takes the focus off you. You don't have to be charming or witty. You just have to notice stuff and point it out. Simple as that. But now that you know active observation is all about noticing the little things, patterns, details, the stuff most people gloss over, what if I told you there's a way to apply that same principle, but for learning? That's where today's sponsor comes in. Brilliant. Brilliant is kind of like active observation, but instead of helping you learn how to notice people and talk to them, it helps you notice patterns, solve actual problems, and pick up real skills, whether it's math, programming, data analysis, or even AI. Brilliant breaks it all down into interactive lessons that actually make sense. For starters, Brilliant helps you build problem-solving skills through, well, solving problems. No boring lectures or rote memorization, just real knowledge you can apply immediately. Not only that, they also make it ridiculously easy to build a daily learning habit. You can log in for just a few minutes, tackle 1 or 2 lessons, and come away feeling like you've actually accomplished something. But let's say you're into math, Brilliant lets you start from the basics, or you can also challenge yourself with advanced topics. It's the kind of learning that's actually applicable and useful in your everyday life. Or maybe you want to learn coding, which I know a lot of you do, based on your recent comments. Well, their programming courses let you start building programs with Python, even from day one. Whether it's games, apps, or just impressing your friends with your newfound nerd cred, Brilliant's got your back. If you want to try Brilliant for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/someunfilteredguy, or by clicking the first link in the description, or you can scan the QR code right here. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Once again, a big thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Alright, let's now talk about what this actually looks like in practice. First, you have to train yourself to notice details. This means putting your phone down, taking your headphones out, and paying attention to your surroundings like you're the main character in a detective show. What are people wearing? What are they doing? Are they fidgeting, checking their watch, scrolling on their phone? These little things tell you a lot. Second, you need to practice turning those observations into comments. This is where most people get stuck because they overthink it. They worry about sounding weird or intrusive. But the reality still remains, no one cares as much as you think they do. So when you see someone in a bright yellow jacket, you can say, "That's a bold color choice. I respect it." Done. It doesn't need to be original. You just have to open the door. Finally, you have to get comfortable with silence. Not every observation will lead to a conversation, and that's perfectly fine. The point isn't to force anything. It's to give people the opportunity to engage if they want to. If they don't, you move on. No harm, no foul. The more you do this, the easier it gets. You start to realize that small talk doesn't mean impressing people or proving you're interesting. It's about standing on your feet, paying attention, and making people feel seen. That's it. It's not that deep, but it works. And honestly, once you get good at it, it's kind of fun. Now you might be thinking, this sounds way too simple to actually work. But think about it. When was the last time someone genuinely noticed something about you and mentioned it in a non-weird way? Probably not recently. The fact is, people are too caught up in their own heads to notice anyone else, so when you do it, it's like a glitch in the matrix. People pay attention because they're not used to it. Let me give you another example. You're at a Halloween party, another introvert's worst nightmare, and someone walks in wearing a tie with tiny rubber ducks on it. Most people would either ignore it or make a generic comment like, nice tie, not you. You're going to be different. You're going to say, okay, I need to know the story behind the ducks. Now you've made it personal. You've turned their accessory into a conversation starter, and you've done it in a way that makes them feel interesting. This works with literally anything. Let's say you notice someone's shoes. Just say something like, those look way too clean to be comfortable. Or, what about their coffee order? You can say, that's a lot of whipped cream for someone who doesn't look like they're celebrating. Or even someone's dog. You can just say something along the lines of, I feel like your dog judges people, and I respect that. See? You're not trying to be funny or clever. You're just noticing things and turning them into somewhat interesting comments. Oh, and one more thing, you have to mean it. People can smell fake interest from a mile away. If you're only doing this because you think it's what you're supposed to do, it won't work. You have to genuinely care about the person, or just something about that person in front of you, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And that's where a lot of introverts or just people in general get tripped up. We think we're bad at small talk because we don't like shallow conversations. But small talk isn't shallow if you're actually paying attention. It's just the first layer. The more you practice active observation, the more you'll realize that people are fascinating, even when they're talking about boring stuff. So whenever you're in a situation where small talk is inevitable, and let's be real, that's almost every social situation, try active observation. Notice something, comment on it, and let the conversation unfold naturally. There's no need to be the popular kid. You just have to be present. Once you've nailed this, something interesting happens. Small talk stops feeling like a chore. It becomes a game, a fun game. You start to enjoy noticing things and seeing how people react. You stop worrying about what to say because you realize it doesn't matter. What matters is showing up, paying attention, and making people feel seen. That's the whole point. So the next time you're in line at a coffee shop, notice the person in front of you. What are they wearing? What are they holding? How are they standing? Pick one thing, make a comment, and see what happens. Worst case, they don't respond, they get creeped out, and you move on with your life. Best case, you've just made a connection.